Hello and welcome to another edition of Breakfast Club ahead of Game Week 13, brought to you from fantasyfootballscout.co.uk. Here we'll look at this weekend's matches and ahead to a frighteningly busy winter schedule, 9 game weeks in 40 days. What a film that would make. We'll also give our reaction to the lunchtime clean sheets, team sheets even, or could be clean sheets.
Could be Mourinho's back.
As Mourinho's back, as West Ham prepare to take on Mourinho's new look Spurs. My name's Joe and today I'm joined by David. David, welcome. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Thanks. It's good to be back after international break. The international break was definitely needed. People often sort of miss the football, but when you're so in it every day, it is always good just to take a few days. But then, of course, it is good to be back as well, and of course, Mourinho back as well. So even though I've got no one involved in this lunchtime game, and because I'm not prepared to go into Spurs just yet, I'm sort of like I'm not invested from an FPL perspective at all, but just from a football perspective, I can't wait. What a day we've got in store. There's some great games, plenty on the line for fantasy. So yeah, exciting day.
Yeah, very interested in those team sheets that are coming out at 11:30, particularly on the Spurs side. Obviously, I have my eye. We were talking earlier on there, and I'll talk about it a bit later. But I have my eye on a Spurs midfielder, and I do hope he can become a fantastic asset for me over Christmas, maybe. But let's have a look at him today. Meanwhile, let's have a look at your team and your moves as well. I noticed you're on Twitter with your moves, and you're saying, certain players out, certain players being captained, and something about construction sites and bricklaying. You mentioned. Tell us about your team. Who's in, who's out, and who's captained.
Yeah, so those of you who've been sort of following stuff that I've been talking about this week, I've been really wanting to get Mane in, and it was between Salah and Sterling, and it's a huge decision, a really big decision, and I hate big decisions so much. And in the end, I made it last night at about midnight, just before the potential price rise that actually never happened. I've sold Salah to get Mane, which is it's really scary for me because I think. Now, I can't say it's absolutely guaranteed, but I think this is the first time that I've actually sold Salah, like removed him from my team.
Wow.
Since December 2017, I think. Someone might correct me, but I'm pretty sure that last season I had him the whole season apart from 1 week where I free hitted. So obviously I didn't sell him.
So you pretty much had Mo Salah for 2 years, solid.
Pretty much, yeah. Me and him were synonymous. You know, it's quite scary because for a long time, it was Salah and Robertson were like the bedrock of my fantasy success, and now I have neither of them. And to be fair, they could both not play today, but they could also both play. So it is quite scary. And so, I mean, I'll talk about why I wanted Mane in a minute, because I'm probably going to sound like someone who regrets it immediately, which I to some extent am, because I feel emotionally I can't believe I did that to Salah. The reason I'm scared is because, Salah is showing some form that if he were to start this game, I think he's got a good chance of punishing me.
Yeah.
Just like he did everybody who sold him before Bournemouth away last year. That famous game week when some of us captained him, got like 40 points out of, whilst people from a player everyone had sold. That I feel like it could be today because we've already discussed Palace's defensive frailties on the captain video and the scoutcast and everything, Captain Sensible, everything we've done. It's very clear they've got some defensive problems. Salah in the last 4 game weeks, 8 shots on target, which is the third best in the league. 10 shots in the box, which is 3 more than Mane, and he's played fewer minutes. There's every possibility that he could bang today. But of course, so the reason I have sold him, because I think it's still a sensible decision, is the ankle really does just worry me a bit, because even though Klopp has been quite positive on it, it would make a great deal of sense to bench him for this game when they got Napoli in midweek. And I know he's had the rest over the international break, but Klopp has said that injury's still there. Yes, he's still trained, but that's very different to playing a game, especially when it's Crystal Palace. And just the other thing with Salah is, as much as he's having all of these shots, and his XG is actually better than Mane's as well. I should mention that too for anyone who's really scared about selling him. Mane is still getting more big chances, and I kind of feel that Salah has recently kind of been turning into a bit of a kind of possession sink, in the sense that like whenever he gets the ball, it stays with him or he loses the ball. And that often leads to a lot of shots that just kind of he snatches at or he's selfish with.
He can get dispossessed, negative bonus comes in, which is why everyone says, why didn't Salah he scored? Why didn't he get bonus? Well, that's why, because he hogs the ball and loses it.
Exactly.
So
Whereas Mane's a bit different. Mane's the kind of guy who they seem to like aim for. So like even though he's touching the ball less and he's shooting less often, he's getting more big chances. So it means that when he's getting those chances, that he's not going to snatch them. He's kind of the higher quality chances. So that's what I'm hoping on. The other thing, of course, this week I wouldn't want to captain Salah because of the flag, but I would happily captain Mane because he's definitely going to start. And as we mentioned all week, pretty much everything we've talked about, he's top for headed attempts out of all midfielders. Crystal Palace have conceded more headed attempts than any other team in the last 4 game weeks. So I think it's a really good matchup. And so, it's just, I think Mane will do well, but it's just if Salah also does well, it will really be a kick in the teeth. So I am very much bricking it right now.
Well, I'm slightly different with Mane and Salah. I've frequently, well, I say frequently, a few times moved them. Oh, he's off. No, he's back. Frequently I've got rid of Salah because I think that Salah and Mane can match each other. Sometimes they don't, but most of the time they do. So I feel what I wouldn't want to do is get rid of Salah for someone who wasn't Mane. I would not want to be without one of them. And I actually look at this game. I want Salah to play, even though I no longer own him myself because I've done the same move as you and Captain Mane. But I want Salah to play because I want Liverpool to absolutely hammer Palace. Not just because I'm a Brighton fan, but because I've got Mane and I've got Alexander-Arnold in my squad. So for fancy reasons, I want Liverpool to be ruthless, Palace to be annihilated, and Mane to get loads and loads of points. I don't really care how much Salah gets as long as Mane gets loads of points because he's my captain. What would be horrible if Salah gets like a hat-trick or brace and then Mane gets like maybe an assist or nothing, and then Wijnaldum.
And that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, that's the fear, but I don't think that'll happen. Usually, when Liverpool play well, Salah and Mane are in the points. I just think it's a good move.
Yeah, and especially away from home as well.
Away from home, but also it's that ankle. Just simply pick it. They're both pretty similar prices now, so go for the guy who has got like 2 working ankles, rather than the guy who's got 1 working ankle and 1 ankle that they have to drain with fluid every few days. I don't want that. Yeah. I want a non-fluid draining ankle working and shooting and scoring, please. About the rest of your squad there, you've got, I'll just run through it for the benefit of our podcast listeners. You've got Pope, Lundstrom, the Lord, Alexander-Arnold, Rico, in defence. You've gone for a 3-4-3. Martial, Mane captain, as you mentioned. Sterling is still there. Mount, Jota and Abraham, and Vardy up top. And on the bench, you've got Henderson, who can't play because he is on loan. So he's ineligible to play against his parent club at Manchester United. You've got Loughton, Campbell, and Tomori. So real mishmash there on the bench. So you've probably got your best 11 out of that 15. Playing.
100%.
There. But before we move on to my team, is there anything else that you'd like to mention there? We were talking on air about good defenders and how they're annoyingly cheap and getting points on people's benches. But you're okay. You're at one with your choices. Yeah.
I'm glad that I'm in this position. I mean, I should have Soyuncu really, but it is quite helpful because I probably would start him this week and I'd bench Rico, but then it's tough to bench someone like Rico who does always possess the ability for some attacking returns, even if they're sort of quite slight. Yeah. So Loughton is he's potentially on the chopping block, but he's still my first sub because I see him as someone who either starts or doesn't come on if he's benched. Because he's a right back, he's not the kind of player you're going to change. And if he does come on for a 1-pointer because Bardsley's got an injury, then that's just bad luck. So, Loughton's on the chopping block because if he doesn't start again this week, then he's the kind of option I'm going to want to move on. I've there's potential. I don't know. I could downgrade to maybe. I don't know. I've been thinking about Jan-Mat, but I think that's a bit of a short-term thing because Watford's fixtures after this one aren't, amazing. See, the funny thing is, looking forward, I'm kind of already thinking how can I get Salah back in, which is probably, proof of the fact that I'm regretting it already. But yeah, for me, I think the ones I'm kind of looking out for really, Mount. I think I'm not afraid of upgrading him to Pulisic. We talked about what counts as a sideways move often in the past, and I don't really think that you can make sideways moves with attackers. You need to look at how well they're playing. So Mount's not playing badly, but if you look at Pulisic's stats, they're just so much better that it doesn't matter that he's from the same team. He's just a better option. So I'm not afraid of doing that. How I would fund that, not really sure yet. It kind of depends again on how. So Sterling is a little bit of a last chance saloon today. I'd kind of like it if Sterling kind of disappoints me, because then I've got some cash to play with to maybe get Pulisic or, if some Spurs options in midfield. I know that you've got your eye on a certain Spurs midfield, and then maybe I can go there. Big day for Sterling. Also, I think a bit of a big day for Jota as well, because he's showing some good stats, but he really needs to actually deliver on them, because he's been getting in lots of good places, kind of all season really, and kind of not quite delivering in the Premier League. If he can finally start delivering, then he's going to be a fantastic.
There's going to be good news for you later when I unveil the latest goals imminent table.
Nice.
Okay. Well, just before we come to the team sheets, I'll just put my team up quickly, so that people can avoid whichever defenders I've got, because I basically will always bench the defender that scores the most points. I've managed not to do it with Lundstram, but Sionju's points I've been swerving. So I'm going for Pope in goal, Alexander-Arnold. Lundstram's definitely playing. Sionju against my team Brighton. I'm going to be playing him. I've gone for 3-4-3. Mane in for Salah, captained. Tielemans, De Bruyne, Mount. And I've got up front Vardy, Abraham and Jimenez. And on the bench, I've got Rico, who will no doubt get me lots of points on the bench, because basically my first sub is the blooming, just a pot of points. I've got Otamendi, annoying. I've still got him because I could downgrade him for about I could free up another 1.5 million or so. But, it's I've got other priorities, so he can just sit there and rot. We're talking in a bit about winter planning and stuff. I do have my eye on a certain very boring dullard team to replace Otamendi with, so I don't need to do it yet. So he might just rot there for a while, eating up my funds. And I've got Dendoncker.
He can though. That's the thing with the wealth of options that you're worried about benching. Then Otamendi can just sit there, can't he? Which is quite handy that there's so many budget defenders performing well for you.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm being tempted. If it wasn't for Vardy, I'd have been tempted to go for 4-4-2, because I think that is still a really good formation, because you can play Alexander-Arnold. Say you get Robertson in, and then you've got Lundstram, you've got the likes of Sionju. Chelsea's fixtures start getting better, so you can play Tomori. You've got Rico knocking around, getting these blooming assists and clean sheets when you least expect them. And as people who watched the Scoutcast this week will know, Tom's differential option was one I was very, very tempted with. I fancied the Salah Mane move instead, but I was very tempted with Matt Doherty, and I do think Wolves are a good bet for clean sheets at the moment, but also Doherty's a good bet for attacking points, and no one's going to own him because he's so ludicrously priced, because he's priced for last year and he's not last year's player. So for this little run, I think 6 million, no one's going to get him. So he's a perfect differential. Even if he starts hammering in hat tricks every week, no one's going to get him because no one can sort of fit him in their structures. I don't know. Have we got any team sheets yet?
We do.
Oh, okay. Well, let's do that then. Okay, I'll come back to the rest of my team in a bit. So let's go team sheets. Who's playing? Yeah. Spurs, West Ham.
That's right. So we'll start with Spurs because I think that's where the greater interest is because of one Jose Mourinho. And it's not hugely shocking. There's a few surprising things, but so we've got Gazzaniga in goal. We've got a back four, by the looks of it, of Ben Davies, Davinson Sanchez, Toby Alderweireld, and Serge Aurier. We've got a defensive midfield two of Dyer and Winks. So it does look like a 4-2-3-1, which I think is what we kind of expected from Mourinho, really. Then an attacking midfield trio that looks very tasty indeed of Dele Alli, Lucas Moura, and Son. I wouldn't be able to tell you until the game starts which of those players are playing and which of those roles, because I would suggest all three of them can play in all of them. Yeah. But my guess is Dele as number 10 and Moura and Son as the wingers, and then Kane up front, and obviously he's got the captain's armband. So then that means that we've got Rose on bench, which I don't think I'm surprised by. No. He doesn't strike me as a type of player that Mourinho is going to get on with. I suggested the other day he could be the new Luke Shaw. So already he's on the bench. But Christian Eriksen's on the bench, as is Lo Celso. So arguably two of the most creative players on the bench. But if he's trusting Dele Alli, then that's quite interesting. So, that's the Spurs team. I'll just do West Ham for posterity because I don't really think too many people are expecting much of them today.
No.
Roberto in goal. Cresswell, Diop, Ogbon, and Fredericks, and that means Balbuena finally loses his place with good reason. Rice and Noble come straight back in, which will be quite important for them in a game like this. Snodgrass keeps his place. Snodgrass and Yarmolenko are the wingers. Anderson at number 10 and Allaire up front, which means that, Roberto doesn't get benched for when he should do.
Yeah.
David Martin's still on the bench. But, those who are interested in a slight differential, someone I've always been a fan of in FPL, Antonio is back on the bench.
Ooh, okay.
So, a few little things there.
Yeah.
But of course, big news is Spurs 4-2-3-1.
Now,
Dele Alli at number 10, hopefully.
Well, what interests me about that team sheet is because Mourinho has consistently said throughout his career, if a player wants to go, he's not going to, basically, he's not going to play him, really. He's not interested in him. Eriksen obviously wants to go, so I suspect that's where Eriksen's going to be from now on. Rose often is what has been linked with going. Indeed, he was linked with Mourinho's Manchester United a while ago. So he's a player he likes. He has also said that he likes Lucas Moura, and he said he tried to sign Moura when he was before he went to PSG, but PSG got in there. I think obviously that doesn't surprise me that he's there. Dele Alli at number 10, very interesting. So here's my team. Going from like an excellent team to just my team, the Spurs team. So my team, I've got about 2.5 million in the bank. I've also got Otamendi's money sitting there, but I've got one free transfer. I'm not happy with Mason Mount at the moment. I don't mind him if he's playing a bit further forward, but if Pulisic is the guy there, Mount to Pulisic is sort of the move I'd penciled in for game week 14 when they play West Ham. So I'm very keen on that. But Dele Alli intrigues me. Now, I can afford Dele Alli. And I've mentioned this week on the team news, we mentioned on the Scoutcast about a year ago now. The switch was flicked was the Twitter picture from FPL Awesome-O. Basically, that was the theory that he's like super sexy Buzz Lightyear with Kane out, and that when you flick the switch, there he goes. He's all action. Dele Alli will score the points for you. But could that switch be the Mourinho one? And that's what I'm looking at, because he's really nicely priced if he's a number 10 for a high performing side. Harry Kane, I don't necessarily need, but I could get, possibly. But why would I get rid of Jimenez or Vardy or Abraham? It's a bit like the Sky game. Too many good strikers, because in the Sky game, the likes of Mane and Salah are strikers in those games. So there's too many, and there's only 3 slots. So, so that's why I'm starting to look at the likes of Dele Alli. What do you think? What are you looking out for with Spurs? Are you looking at their defenders? Are you looking at Harry Kane possibly, or some of these midfield potential gems?
I'm definitely going to start with Harry Kane, because the one thing that we've been missing from him in the last few years, or maybe 18 months, is the old Harry Kane that just sat up front and finished everything, and that's all he did, and that was what made him just an absolute fantasy giant. This whole drop in deep thing, which admittedly he's been doing since he's had a couple of injuries with that ankle that he keeps rolling. So it's more running for him, I feel. So I don't really understand. I don't really think there's necessarily a link there. But really, I want that over. I want that gone. You don't really see it with England. So clearly Southgate knows how to kind of get the best out of Kane, because Kane scored in every qualifier, didn't he?
Yeah.
I feel like Mourinho can do that, because you look at the last 2 teams he's managed and how he set them up. When he was at Chelsea in his second spell, he had Diego Costa as arguably the most must-have fantasy striker for a couple of years. Then when he went to Man United, there was that period when we had Zlatan at a point when he was really important to own. Then there was the season that he had Lukaku. He managed to help Lukaku get to 60% ownership, because he was literally just scoring every week, because his job was just get on the end of everything, loiter in the box and score the goals.
Yeah.
And so clearly Mourinho has history with that in a 4-2-3-1. So if he can turn Spurs into that, then I'm intrigued by the idea that you going for Dele Alli, I can understand absolutely. But when you look at Jimenez, Vardy, and Abraham, and they're all doing quite well, but Kane is scoring every week and is a captain candidate. would it then start to kind of? I think it could completely change the captaincy landscape every week, because sometimes you can feel very exposed if you don't have the option that lots of people are captaining, and I think that could be Kane. So I mean, if that were to happen, if he were to become the Kane of old, and you'd rather captain a Kane rather than a Jimenez, where would you stand on, say, Kane versus Ali? I know it's hypothetical, but these are the things we're looking out for in the new Mourinho reign.
It's more. Where would I stand on Mount, who's getting me 3 points every week, and Jimenez, who's scoring most weeks and is a captaincy candidate, or Abraham, who's scoring most weeks and a captaincy candidate, and Vardy, who's scoring most weeks.
Oh yeah, I mean, Vardy's still there. Yeah.
And that's the way I look at it. It's not just is so and so better than so and so. It's more where do they fit into the squad. And at the moment, I think in the Sky game, Kane is definitely interests me. This brings us on neatly to something we were talking about, winter planning, because we need to we talked about in the Scoutcast about winter planning, and about looking. And there's something I talked about looking at 2 sets of like mini seasons, game weeks 13, which we're in now, to 17. And there's certain teams got better fixtures then. Then you've got Liverpool blank game week 18 to 21 is another fixture blank. But suddenly Spurs, I think, are suddenly a team to consider within that, possibly. So they're watch listed at the moment. So let's have a look at game weeks 13 to 17. And we can see, we're already looking at Liverpool. So our focus today was on Liverpool with Mane. We've got Leicester, we're still considering them. Chelsea are right up there. But then much further down in our thoughts is Tottenham. But they've got nice fixtures. They got Bournemouth at home and Burnley at home over the next 5 game weeks. And then they've got Burnley away, you never know. And obviously they've got West Ham today. So there are opportunities there. And then when we look at the next fixture block, in which Liverpool become less interesting, but when you look at the fixtures going there, so Liverpool are less interesting, Leicester are less interesting, but suddenly Tottenham are even more interesting because they've got Brighton at home, they've got Norwich away and Southampton away, so they've got some very juicy fixtures there. So what you're saying is right, yeah, Kane does suddenly become an option. And if you'll notice, Wolves are really way down. They've got Man City and Liverpool within that 4. So if I get Kane in, I will somehow have to do that from Jimenez to Kane, I think. Because I don't think Jamie Vardy will go anywhere, but you never know. But, one of those goes. So I do see what you mean. But Dele Alli, you can just fit him in now. Don't have to worry about anything. Just get him in now. But what are you thinking about winter planning? So my thought is these 2 like mini seasons. Other people have different theories and plans, but for you at the moment, the way your team's set up, your structures, what's your sort of plan going ahead into December?
Yeah, I mean, I think I know everybody says it every year. I should probably sort my bench out because Cantwell, I think, is a problem, and Lowton currently a problem as well. The options I go to with those, it's kind of hard to do. You kind of need to find space to do it, because I probably need a Hayden rather than a Cantwell, and I probably need. Well, I mean, one thing I am potentially looking at is Charlie Taylor at Burnley could be a nice one to go to from Lowton. Obviously, the other thing, of course, is I need to make a final decision on what I'm doing if I'm doing a Liverpool attacking double up, because obviously the blankie in game week 18 is a proper kind of spanner in the works if you're going big on those particular players. I think I'm mostly happy on most of my players in this squad, that I think that they'll start most of the games over Christmas. But I mean, I think really what all I'm going to be doing over the next couple of weeks is just gathering information so that I can start making the decisions I need to, probably, I don't know, maybe in about 2 weeks' time. Because actually, as much as the winter period is quite condensed, it doesn't really start getting condensed until maybe game week 15, 16. So we've got just a couple more weeks just to kind of make a few decisions. And obviously, I mean, just without wanting to sound like a walking advert for the members area, like I will be, the season ticker is an important one to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
So that you can just get an accurate idea of what teams are the ones to look at over Christmas. And we're going to try and have something next week, or in the next week or 2 weeks on the site, just analysing the rest times for each of the different teams.
Ooh, that's good.
Because some teams have slightly more rest than others. So then it just kind of helps you kind of have an idea of, if X team gets 3 or 4 more days rest over that Christmas period than others, then if you've got like a judgment call between a player from Team A who has more rest than Team B, then it kind of can help you make a decision with a bit more peace of mind. So, yeah, it's just about a little bit of extra research, and then I think I'll be making decisions in a few weeks' time, really. Because I think what you have to be careful of sometimes is, because we all do it with the blanks and doubles, don't we? Sometimes we can be quite guilty of spending 3 to 4 weeks building that team so that when you get to the point you were building towards, it's ready. But you can sometimes compromise other areas along the way, and have your winter blinkers on. So you need to be aware of it. But let's not forget that we've got to think about game week 14. We've got to think about game week 15 and 16. And they are compressed because one of those is a midweek game. But, you know, I'd be really shocked if there was like extensive rotation of the key players around that period. So definitely going to be trying to make sure that I just train myself to make sure that I'm taking into consideration some of those game weeks that aren't in the Christmas crush. Before I get there.
I mean, I must admit, last year I made sure my bench was really great, and I think I used the first sub, maybe the second sub once, maybe. I never got to a third sub, so it's important to get. But don't, as you said, don't overthink it. And that's why at the moment I'm favouring a Liverpool double up, not a treble up. Because, I am thinking about that game week 18, but I'm thinking beyond. I'm thinking 18 to 21. And I'm thinking, do I really want, it's they're an easy move to make because they're expensive. But I am watching that Spurs. And sometimes there is that danger, with those, as you said, with that blinkers, we can all think about. With the blinkers as well, so you can have blinkers of ignoring Liverpool's great fixtures and focusing too much on game week 18. But at the same time, you can also have blinkers on focusing too much on Liverpool full stop. And sometimes I think, well, hang on a minute, let's have a look at Spurs. And you mentioned the members area. I'm going to be on there on Monday and Tuesday having a look at the detail at Spurs against West Ham. I'm going to be looking for indications of Kane staying higher, getting more penalty box touches, not becoming Rooney.
We will have an article on that tomorrow morning, actually. So when full-time whistle goes, you'll be able to go straight in the members area for those who are interested to have a look at a Kane heat map, see where his touches were, how often he was touching the ball in the box, how often he shot there, what his XG was, all of that stuff will be accessible in the members area about 2:30, and then the analysis of the game with some members area analysis as well. We'll have an article on it first thing tomorrow morning as well. So that's just, if other people want to go and find that, that'll be on site very soon.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. And what I like about Spurs, in the same way I sort of like about Crystal Palace, begrudgingly, is that looking at game weeks now to 17 and then game week 18 to 21, Palace got great fixtures all the way through it. So you could get like a Van Aanholt or a Zaha or Milivojevic. I've heard some people say Milivojevic, perfect Allard choice. Get them in. And you can play them all through Christmas. They're going to play every game. There you go, done. And Spurs potentially could be like that. We're stuck in a mindset of Spurs are rubbish, but maybe they won't be. Maybe they will be rubbish, in which case you can carry on ignoring them. But it's good to keep an open mind, back to flexibility. Hey, here's something that will please you. My goals imminent table always pleases me anyway. Go. But I shall read out the name, because at the top is Diego Jota. So your man there, he's right at the top.
There we go.
And as you mentioned, he is performing good stats as well. 13 goal attempts, but no goals. 6 of them on target, not bad. Expected goals, he should have been scoring 3 goals over the last 4 games.
His XG is higher than Jimenez.
Yeah,
which is
it's absolutely
really
huge.
Waiting for that to actually mean something for my team.
Intriguingly, Jesus at Man City is still knocking around there, but will he play? Raheem Sterling is in there as well, so due a goal. Son, so another player I'm looking out for. If I wanted to take a hit, I might get Mount for Son, or Son for Mount, whichever way. But Willian, someone we talked about, I think is it Az who hates Willian? I can't remember.
Yeah, he describes him as a broken cog.
A broken cog.
In the machine that is FPL.
Well, that gives me extra impetus to get Willian in. So Willian's someone I'm looking at as well, because I think if players like Az are ignoring him, then maybe he could be a good differential. Aguero is knocking around. So Man City, the omens are looking good for Man City against Chelsea today. Neil Maupay from Brighton, Lacazette is in there, and Firmino. But I found Jota quite interesting. It's potentially a favourable matchup today. I think I'll be cheering him on, even though I don't own him. But if anyone who's at the top of the goals imminent table got to be cheering on. So yeah, you should feel quite pleased about that, I think.
Yeah, no, I've been doing my own sort of little research, and I do apologise. I hadn't actually checked goals imminent, but now that I've seen he's on there, then all of the other research, the corroboration of my research, your famous table coming together, then this has got to be the week because, yeah, Jimenez has really hurt me. I hadn't been able to get to him in a way that wasn't, going to cause me huge hit problems, but I saw enough to think that Jota could cover him. I know we've talked about whether or not attacking players can do that, but if he's in good, if you've got two attacking players that are showing good stats and one of them's cheaper, the cheaper one can always cover them if they're delivering. So come on, Diogo, today's the day.
I just mentioned actually. I just noticed that obviously those 13 goal attempts, you got 10 of those inside the box as well. That's really good. That's what you want. He's in the right place. Yeah. Half of them on target, so you could do with slightly more on target, but yeah, expected goals. So ever since I've started embracing expected goals and marrying it with traditional stats, it's been quite effective, I think. To look at those expected goals and think, hang on, this guy should have scored 3 in the last 4. Why have I not got those goals? Well, that just suggests they could be coming, or there could be some malaise. Could be like Tadic at Southampton,
or
Mitrovic, and just never.
But I think the thing with Jota is we know he can be unplayable because we saw it last year.
Yeah.
So we know there's a good player in there somewhere. Whereas some of those other players, because they had never actually showed it, then you can look at the XG and go, oh well, we know. So for example, other players like that, I think this year, like Shea Adams, he was on goals imminent for ages, and then dropped off it because he didn't score, and then stopped shooting and stopped playing. Same with McGoldrick to some extent, So, but Jota's different because, like I said, we saw last year he outscored Jimenez between game week 18 and the end of the season. Yeah. When Wolves were at their best, Jota was better than Jimenez. So come on, let's get back to that.
He's got pedigree. Before we go, just a few bit of housekeeping to mention. We mentioned the members area stats. You've just seen the goals imminent table in all its glory. We've launched our rolling monthly membership scheme this week. This costs £1.99 a month for the first month if you sign up before Monday, December the 2nd. So get in there, and it rises to £2.99 per month for every month after. Well worth it. Stats, rate my team, comparison tool, exclusive articles, and of course you can make your own goals imminent table if you so desire. Check out fantasyfootballscout.co.uk for more. We've launched our Instagram account this week as well. Check that out. Our social media reach is increasing each day. And David, I think you wanted to mention something about our cups that we've got. We've got some cup competitions at Fantasy Football Scout. Do you want to talk about them?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. So, we always run cups every year, and we always have 2. First half of the season, we have 2 running at the same time. One that's public and one that's for members only. I've dropped in the live comments earlier, but I think we'll get it in the description of this definitely. When you're watching it back. The links on how you sign up for those. This week is the qualifying. So basically, what happens is you sign up, and you can actually sign up until Monday, I think it is, with your game week 13 score, and then basically the top 1,024 scorers in the public cup get taken through to the next round, and then with the members cup starts a little bit later, but by all means go and sign up now. As I said, there'll be some links for you to follow, and there are prizes for that, which off the top of my head I do apologize, can't exactly remember what they are, but they are quite lucrative Amazon vouchers, I think. So double check. We got an article on site as well. It's always very exciting. Joe, of course, is a former winner.
I am.
So he can tell you all about how much fun it is to go on a cup run.
It was the season where I backed Drogba at Chelsea, and of course Frank Lampard was there. So lots of people weren't. Lots of people were backing them, but yeah. So that just shows that there's. I always think, fantasy football's more skill than luck, but when you're in a cup competition, you need a heavy slice of luck. And my sort of tactic of just backing Drogba above all else just worked that season, and definitely worked in the cup. Just so happens loads of people I was against hated Chelsea, so that's a stroke of luck there. I'm not going to get so lucky again, but yeah, good. Great cup competition. I do recommend getting it. It's very exciting, especially when you get to the final stages. But for now, David, good luck with your game week. Good luck with your first time for 2 years without Salah. Oh my God. And good luck to our new boy, Mane. and may
Yeah.
the goals rain down upon his working ankles. But for now,
And his working head.
and his
Don't
working
forget.
head. But for now, good luck everyone, and see you soon.
Cheers, Joe. Good luck to you as well.